So you bent down just to tie your shoes.
Yeah.
Like, was it like a painful pop? Was it like a
Oh yeah.
lower lumbar, scary? Like, oh,
Yeah. It was like, are you serious? I'm about to fall over. Pop. Like, yeah,
no way,
yeah.
bro.
And like it's better today, but I'm just like, what the hell? Like I can pick up 400 pounds off the ground, and that's not an issue. But I bend over to tie my shoe, and for some reason, it's just one little weird twist, and it goes just like that.
Oh no, bro. I heard that's what that trend does to you.
I don't know. I'll find out eventually, I guess.
one of these preps. Just
Yeah, we'll
send
see.
it to the moon.
For real.
But I feel that, man. I was picking up a 25-pound plate today, and I bent down to put that motherfucker back on the little weight storage peg. And
Mm,
my back kind of did one of these like. I was like, oh shit! I don't like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I literally like I was just putting on my boots, and I bent down, and it was like the pulling up motion. Like I don't know if it was just a weird angle or what, but it just went crack, and I was like, it was
Oh
like one of those
boy.
ones like as soon as you do it, you're like, that's gonna be detrimental.
Right. Yeah, bro. Pretty soon we're gonna have to put you in the home. Your hips will go
Pretty soon,
next.
pretty soon, man.
My man's getting old.
26 hits hard.
26 out here on episode 80 of the Trainer Scoop podcast. Welcome to the episode, Hunter. Thank you so much for being here on the podcast for your fourth or fifth time on this fucking podcast. Appreciate you, man.
Big 80, man. That's a freaking monumental number.
That's a lot of podcasts. It's a lot of time spent doing this shit.
That
Jeez.
is. That is.
All I've ever been offered is like a fucking ice barrel sponsorship. You think I want to do that shit? No. Fuck. I
I
see
take
you
it.
on the ice bath grind though. You're on that grind, man. I'm too much of a pussy. That's the thing.
We did it for a little while, and then my buddy bought like an official one, and we were doing it like every Sunday or something like that. And then it started getting like really cold, and like I want to say it was like maybe November, like early November. We got in one, and he was just like, "I think this is my last time until winter's over." he
Oh
was just,
man,
it was so miserable, but yeah, I don't mind them.
you're tough. Tougher than most.
Honestly,
But
I like doing it like once a week just because it's like I know it sounds like so cliche, but it's just like it's challenging. So it's like, oh, well,
no,
can't
there's something to it.
yeah, you can't we can't get any worse after just shrinking my nuts in this ice bath for 5 minutes or whatever it is. So
Right? I mean, they were already shrunken as it off the trend that you were taking. That hurt your back. They're already shrinking and shit. So
yeah,
those
be up
poor
inside
balls
me,
are just yeah.
gone.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, exactly. So now that we kind of introduced the podcast and talked about the state of your balls, bro, tell us what has been up. What's been new? It's been about what? I mean, honestly, not that long since we've done a
Mm-mm.
podcast predictions because the Olympia was in like what, December, November?
Some yeah, November I think because I think they're moving it to
Yeah.
October this year.
Yeah, so it hasn't been super long, but it's been a little bit of time.
Couple months,
You know,
yeah.
I see you out here looking spiffy. Makes me think that you were just on the move from something, getting some type of business activity done. So what's been up? What's been new?
Yeah, man, just been super busy. So I was working for uh, this training company, and we kind of work with people coming off of physical therapy, and mostly like I'd say ages like 50 and up is kind of what our clientele base looked like. And I got a call from my boss probably like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he has two locations. He has Worthington one, which is the one that I was in, and then he has one in Gahanna, so 30 minutes from Worthington. And he gave me a call and he's like, "Yeah, I thought I could handle, having two locations, but we're gonna close the Worthington location down just because it's too much for me to deal with." And you know, obviously for me, I was like, "Shit, I don't have a job. and then like what are all these clients going to do? And so I talked to him and I was like, hey, you know, would you be opposed to me just taking over the clients that we already have and then buying the equipment from you? And he was like, no. He's like, if you don't buy it, then obviously I'm gonna have to store it somewhere because we don't have room for it at the other location. So he's like, that's gonna cost me money. So I bought the equipment, acquired all of our current clients, and then right now I'm still just in a temporary building for where I'm training people out of. But I just put in an application for a new building today, actually. So hopefully on Monday I get good news that we've been approved for that. So starting my own spot, building up.
Oh shit. Yeah, before we talk about congratulations, let's talk what's the equipment status? What do we got in there? What are we working with?
Nothing too crazy right now because basically um, we're sharing the space right now with another lady who does more of like a class style of training. So she needs like a giant room for, I think she has like 20 people at a time or something like that. So basically, everything that I have to put away at the end of the day. So what we're looking at is mostly like I would call it like CrossFit equipment. So
Mm-hmm.
dumbbells, barbells, boxes, some ropes, TRX stuff like that. But obviously, with me taking on my own new space, that's something that I am looking into right now. Is what kind of equipment I'm going to try to bring in there because I want to obviously have a better experience for my clients as they move forward with me. So I'm looking at a couple like Cybex leg presses, the old squat presses, and then some type
Those are a
of
joy to
dude. I
buy
love
on
those. I love
secondhand.
those. I love those. But
Oh, I'm saying they're
something
a
like
joy to buy on the secondhand
oh,
market
I
because they're
know,
so
I know
fucking expensive.
they are, but they're
But
so
once you
like
have it, it's like, oh, this is
exactly,
so good.
exactly. So I'm
There's
looking for
this
one of those, and then
there's real quick, there's this like weird free motion leg press at the gym I go to. It tries to be like the Cybex squat press, but it's just not quite it. I'm like,
I've
damn,
seen a
it's a
couple
fucking
that are
bummer.
like duplicates, and like you said, like you get it, and it's like I see what they were doing, but it's not. It just doesn't sit the
Right.
same. But
Right.
yeah, so I'm looking at one of those. I want to get like a selectorized chest press machine. Um, Obviously, like a free motion cable stack. Those are like the big three that I'm shooting for right now. And then obviously,
Why
just
a
like
chest press?
for me, um, I think that a lot of my clients are not quite at a position where they can do um, like a push up, but at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, I just see so many people butchering like you know kind of like an assisted push up or um, something where you maybe have them doing out of box or something like that. So
Yeah.
just to kind of build up their upper body strength a little bit more with something that's a little bit more stable before I get them into doing something like that. So, and same
I
thing kind of
gotcha.
with the squat press. It's obviously you want everybody to be able to squat, and that's like the foundation of like what I start people with. But for those people that maybe out the gate don't feel comfortable like sitting back into a box or something like that, at least getting them going with something where they are working their legs a little bit more and it's a little bit more stable.
Nice, man. Dude,
Yes.
that's huge. Congrats.
Thank you. I
How
appreciate
you
it.
feeling?
I'm good. I'm super excited about things, but like the initial startup is just a lot because it's like you got to get your scheduling app, you got to get insurance, you got to get a new building, you got to start a website, you got to come up with a new name. I'm still in the process of coming up with a new name. Um, you know, just like you got to get a logo. So many things that you just need to add to, and it's just like once you get those bases down, obviously you can kind of get rolling on the training and advertising side of things. But you can't go anywhere without the foundation. So
You're gonna be a
yeah,
busy man over these next few months.
yeah, yeah. Well, for this situation, obviously, like I'm sure you're the same way. Like having your own space at some point is always just like a dream, but very rarely do you start in a situation where you have clients already and you're starting a new space, so you already have that income. And that's why I was like, at first, I was like, man, it's kind of risky. But then I was like, it's not that risky because one, I already have money coming in from these clients. Two, you know how equipment sales is. It's like, yeah, you're going to have to spend a good chunk of change to get it. But I mean, you can turn around and resell it for what you paid for it or even a little bit more just because of how the market is for that. So I'm taking a bit of a swing, but I'm excited.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, man. I mean, if there's any advice I can offer, kind of doing that little thing for a second, let
Hmm.
me know. But yeah, I'm excited to see where that goes for you. It's always like something I felt like I'm like always kind of thinking like, what's gonna really push Hunter to like elevate?
Hmm.
Because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I understand if I were to do it all. Well, if I were to do it over again, I probably wouldn't do it. But um, that's not true. But if I were to do if I were to do like rewind after I left New Jersey and came back to Ohio,
Hmm.
I probably wouldn't have I see I say that, but I also failed at it with like having a business. But for you, I was like, when is Hunter gonna start his own shit? Like when is he gonna take that
Yeah.
leap? Because training for other organizations, it always kind of sucks. Don't you feel like
Oh
that's
yeah,
true?
100%. And
Yeah.
that's how I was for like the past probably year and a half. It's like I have like all these ideas and stuff I want to put into play, but it's like, when you're even if you're second in charge, it's like you still have to go to somebody
Yeah.
to get all these things done, and it's like first you got to ask, then it has to make sense, then they have to put it into play, and sometimes, that takes a couple months, and by the time that happens, it's like it's not necessarily too late, but it's like,
Right.
well, I've already phased out of that. Like we're in a new time and we need to do something else. So at least in this situation, it's like, I kind of live by the sword, die by the sword. It's like, yeah, if I fuck up, I fuck up, but at least it's my fault. Like at
Exactly.
least, so yeah, I'm
Yeah, that's
like I said, I'm so excited for it. I'm really looking forward to it.
that's good, man. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely good. I'm glad you're having something to really push you to that next level. For me, what I was kind of struggling to verbalize is like if I were to do it over again, I still even though like I'm not doing the training thing anymore,
Hmm.
um, I still probably wouldn't have went back and worked for like another gym or another organization. Like, man, it's so tough.
Yeah.
And that's why being patient in this coaching, personal training thing, it's so important. Like very rarely if you're doing like personal training, will your clientele just like fucking blow up like big time to where you're making like six figures really fast. Like it
Hmm.
definitely will happen eventually, but like that's kind of like the myth that you see on social media with like being a trainer, being like a back when we were like 20 years old, right? You're like, dude, I think I could do this shit and make like $100,000. It's like,
Hmm.
okay,
Yeah.
you can, but it's not easy.
No.
It's not like what you see on social media. So
I think another
props to
thing
you,
on
man.
top of that, thank you. I think another thing on top of that though is like people have it in their mind, like when they're training people, they're like, oh, I'm going to train athletes or I'm going to train, you know, other people that, want to lift. And it's like, no, bro, the people that already want to lift, they don't want your advice. They want to do what they want to
Yeah.
do. So it's like, I think a lot of people get into it and they have that like misconception that they're going to be training like, a 25-year-old who wants to do his first show. And it's like, no, like realistically, unless you're like freaking gifted and you've like done some shit in a sport or like you were a former college athlete or something like that, those type of clients aren't going to typically come to you.
Yeah.
You got to find kind of your niche of like, for me, it's working with, 50 and up because I can talk to them easy. I know what they need and it's super satisfying. Like, it's so satisfying when somebody comes in and they're like, oh, I play with my grandkids on the floor now and I can get up on my own. Like, whereas if you're coaching like a 15, 16-year-old kid and they're like, you're trying to get feedback from them, you're like, well, how do you feel? fast? And they're like, yeah, fast. Like, they're 15, 16 years old. No shit, they're going to be fast. Like, I don't know. It's just, you kind of got to find other avenues and other, I guess, just, I don't know how to explain it, but just like other people to train, because realistically, you're probably not going to be training high level athletes.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's interesting that you say it like brings you a lot of joy and like it's like really satisfying for me, even when and the majority of my people were did I lose Hunter? Oh no, there it goes. It was frozen for a second.
Oh, you're good.
Um the majority of the clients that I was working with were probably older, but I was like, fuck, I just want to work with like the studs. And I
Mm-hmm.
just, oh, man, it was tough for me to get over. I felt like it was rough. And I could talk to him well, but it's just like I got a little impatient. That's a big thing I'm trying to stress here. And I think that you're very good at it. So shout out to you, bro.
Thanks, man. Older women love me.
Oh shit. Got them cougars out there at the spot.
Yeah.
Keeping them looking right. I see you. Well,
Yeah.
real quick, before we get into the main purpose of the episode, how's training been? What's been up? Got any big plans? Hit us.
Nothing too crazy. I made a little bit of a push probably like 2 months ago is when I stopped. And I got up to like 215 ish, maybe closer to 220. I think my heaviest was probably like 217. But it was like the best I've ever looked at that weight, like by far. And then I pulled back probably about 2 months ago, and I'm sitting at like 205, 207 in that range, kind of fluctuating in between there. And training's good, man. I pulled back this past week and just kind of took a couple days off and let my body recover a little bit. I just felt like I'd been running myself into the ground, but yeah, man, strongest I've ever been, best I've ever looked at this weight. So I'm really happy with that. Still no show plans in the near future, but just kind of taking it day by day, seeing how things are going.
I feel it, man. That's great to hear. One thing that stuck out to me as you were telling me about how absolutely fucking jacked you're getting was when you knew it was time to pull back a little bit. So like tell me about that, because I've been at points where I'm like, yep, it's time to take a little step back, take it light, take a little deload. And then I've also been at times in life where it's just like, no, let's keep pushing, because I was so like
Mm-hmm.
obsessed with going to the gym and training hard.
Yeah.
And you're young most of the time, you can get away with that. But tell me, what are some of those signs for you, and how do you know when it's time to take that deload?
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's where like having a logbook really comes into play, because it's like, you know, if you're gaining weight, you're gaining reps, your execution is getting better each week, and then all of a sudden, you just really hit a point where it's like nothing's moving, like across the board. And for me, what typically happens is I'll have 1 week where kind of nothing really moves, and I'll kind of go back and I'll look and I'll be like, maybe I was, stressed that week, and it just like maybe shit just kind of hit the fan and I had a bad week.
What you're saying here, everybody listen up. Keep going, Hunter.
You're good, but um, then if I have another week like that, if it's 2 weeks in a row, and maybe that week too, I'm just like I don't want to go to the gym, or I don't have that enthusiasm to push myself quite like that. And that's kind of a iffy point, because some people just don't have the enthusiasm to go to the gym in general, but I
Right.
personally do. Um, but if I notice that and I feel beat down, maybe my sleep's a little off or whatever it is, then I kind of know it's like, you've been running it pretty hard for, 8, 10, 12, whatever, how long it's been, weeks. It's probably time to take your foot off the gas a little bit. And I don't know about you personally, but some people can go in and do like a deload or just do pump workouts for a week. I don't like doing that. I just take a couple days off. I'd rather do that and just give my body a full break.
Yeah, dude. I feel that. I feel that for sure. I've done both. and I kind of lean more toward just like not going to the gym, or maybe just going like once or twice a week, maybe, but
Mm-hmm.
and still training like semi hard, but still pretty easy. But yeah, I really like what you said about. Sorry, go ahead. We about to say something.
You're good. I was just you saying, yeah, you just don't go to the gym. My issue is if I do still go and say I do like a pump workout or whatever you want to call it, I'll catch myself like midway through the workout and I'm like, well, shit, this is starting to feel pretty good. Like, let's
Oh
let's
yeah,
load it let's load it up a little bit, and then you end up, digging that hole even deeper.
that's true.
So it's
That's
just like,
true.
I know myself. I'd rather just not go.
Yeah, yeah. You definitely gotta be realistic with yourself because I've been in spots like that too, where it's just like, damn, like this is going so good. Let's just push it. Or you're like, in general, it's like training's been feeling so good. Fuck it, I can keep going. But it's like, no, you know that it's been 2 weeks now that you felt like shit. Not felt like shit, but like it's just not grooving the way it was.
Yeah.
And like you said, that is a very good disclaimer as well. This conversation isn't for everybody. If you're out here and you're just starting out, you think you're gonna need a deal. It's like similar to when people are dieting. They just start to diet. They're like 3 weeks in. They're like, yeah, like when do we get a refeed day? And
Hmm.
I'm like, it's been 3 weeks. So like let's keep pushing. And maybe we'll never do a whole refeed day because then that'll just set you back into those binge eating habits that you used to have.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, like when people start their diet for like the first time and they're like 3 weeks in and they're like, "Oh, my strength's going down." I'm like, "What?"
Nah, nah. He's being a
Yeah,
bitch.
exactly. Do you when you do your deloads, do you schedule your deloads or do you just do them by feel?
Um, yeah, most of the time I do, and it kind of depends on how I'm feeling. Like if I'm still really like happy with the exercise selection that I chose for that mesocycle, I'll just repeat it and go super fucking light. Or if I'm like, damn, I'm sick of these fucking movements, like let's just
Hmm.
go on to the next one that I designed. I'll just do those like real light either way. But what do you do?
I never plan it just
Yeah,
because
just go in.
I well for me it's like if I'm planning a deload but I'm still getting stronger, I'm like like I d- like I would hate to go in and be like, okay, week 10, I'm taking a deload, but then I go in week 10 and I feel the best I've felt and I'm smoking my numbers, but I choose not to because I had a deload. Like
Oh
I
yeah,
would
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I would rather my body be like, you need a deload than me just being like, yeah, next week's a deload.
Right, right. Yeah, I think I misunderstood what you said there. So like when
No,
I
you're good.
am going to do a deload, I'll go to the gym. And if I do go to the gym, that is, I'll have an idea of what I'm going to do. But yeah, I'm kind of more reactive to like the whole like, oh, you have to do like a 5 week block of training or like a 4 week or like a 8 week. For
Yeah.
me, it generally is like 6 weeks. That's like always where it starts to go to shit. That's like probably 4 out of 6 times in the past like year or so.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's like definitely I feel like people should be reactive. And this isn't a conversation for like the beginners. Like you could fucking train for whoever knows how long, a year or more,
Yeah.
and never have to
Yeah.
worry about a deload. But um,
Yeah.
also, because we are kind of speaking to the more intermediate, advanced crowd. Um, like you said, like there gets to a point where maybe in that second week of like performance is stalled, you don't want to go. You like feel like, man, I don't want to fucking go to the gym. Like yeah, like you said, it takes some experience because for people like you and
Yeah.
me, a lot of people listening, the gym is one of the biggest highlights of your day and you look forward to it. And it's like, oh, this is like my thing, going, getting in, blowing off that steam, getting the work, improving myself.
Hmm.
Avoiding emotion within that is super important too. And it takes some real like intelligence within your lifting career. So
Yeah, you
if
definitely
you
have to
know,
be
you
able to
know.
sit back. Yeah, you definitely have to be able to sit back, look at it, and be like, okay, am I not going because I physically feel like I can't go, and I feel like it's just not happening, or am I not going because I had a shit day at work and I just want to go home? Like, you just definitely have to sit back and like address what's actually going on.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I feel like we had a good little conversation around that stuff. That was solid. Some good advice, good
I
value,
agree.
good
I
things.
agree.
The main purpose of episode 80 of the Trainer Scoop, however, because we are officially, as Hunter joins me on a fucking Friday night at 8:23. That's how big of meatheads we are. We ain't doing shit. We ain't going out. We ain't partying. We ain't out. Fucking go to the gym, train the clients, recover. I'm going and
So
fucking sitting in bed
social life,
right
never
after
heard of it.
this. Precisely, sir. So shout out to you for joining me late on a Friday to knock up this podcast because we've been fucking busy. But we're gonna hit you with our Arnold predictions. We're a week out, and with that being said, God, it was hard to find photos of these athletes. So this
Yeah.
is just kind of, Hunter and I's Arnold predictions. We've done the 2023 Arnold, the 2023 Olympia, the 22 Olympia, which we then went out to Vegas and
Mm,
saw the shit. So we're going to be in Columbus for the Arnold, definitely. Well, are you doing anything? What are you doing for the Arnold? Are you working a booth? You just going to be there chilling, walking around, going to the
I'll probably
show? What do you
just
think?
yeah, I'll probably just be walking around. Obviously going to the show Saturday night, but
We are going together, actually. We got seats that are super close by, so that'll be sick.
yeah, it was almost impossible to get them. They were damn near sold out. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was like, we may or may not get this. I don't know.
Right. But no, I'll probably be taking Friday off of work and then just kind of seeing what events are going on. I know American Barbell is having a get together on Thursday night for like the GASP team. But
Oh, that's what's up.
yeah, so
Nice.
I might swing out there. But yeah, I'll be around all weekend.
Yeah, man. I'm taking the Series 7 broker dealer registered securities trader exam on Friday. So
Damn.
it's gonna be a packed weekend. I'll be working with Korea Pure on or Saturday and Sunday, getting in late Friday night. Yeah, but it's one of those weekends where I feel like, for me personally, I don't know, you might relate. Like, some of the best weekends of the year for me personally are
Oh yeah,
Ohio State, Michigan, Christmas, and the Arnold. So
yeah.
like, this is literally fucking peak for us Ohio fitness lovers. How long have you been
Hmm.
going to the Arnold?
Probably since I was like, well, I used to get I used to go with my dad when I was like really young, but that was for like all the karate shit that they had there. I was all about like Dragon Ball Z and shit, and I just love
Were
people
you
fighting.
fighting people at the Arnold? Or
I
were you
wish
watching?
I was watching,
Oh shit, okay. Did you
but I
ever
would
buy
go.
a sword?
Yes, I did. I did.
Dude, those kids were out there with those fucking swords.
Yeah, they had like the
Like,
swords and
legit
like the bow
sword.
staffs and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
shit was crazy.
But yeah, I used to go with my dad when I was really young, and then I took like a bit of a hiatus from like middle school through high school, and then I started going again when I got to college.
Yeah, dude. I went with my dad for the first time too. It's like my junior year of high school. I just kind of started getting into the gym, and I was like, damn, I want to go to this. It'd be pretty cool. And he was
Hmm.
like, but like, I had just got my license, so I was like, I'm kind of nervous driving around downtown Columbus. And he was
Hmm.
like, yeah, we could go. I was like, okay, bet. And yeah, I definitely appreciate him for taking me there then, because it's always been a staple. I've been every year. I even flew in to Ohio in 2020, right before they fucking canceled the Arnold. So it's a
That's
highlight. It's always go ahead.
I was gonna say that's when I knew shit was real. Was when they canceled that, and then they canceled March
Yeah,
Madness.
yeah, dude. And we were like, well, fuck. I guess we'll play Warzone because there ain't nothing else to do. But and I'll fucking pour concrete weights. Did you follow me at that time?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. That was so fucking ratchet, man. Made a squat rack out of fucking random wood in my fucking dad's barn.
Good times.
Good times. What'd you do during COVID for like training?
So my
This is
dad and
such an
I,
interesting. This is my Roman Empire. Like, how did people manage this?
no, so we had like a bench, a 45-pound barbell, and then plates, but it was like two 45s, two 35s, two
Yeah.
25s. Like
Okay.
it just went down.
When you
And
say
then we
two, do you
had
mean two pairs or just two total?
two total.
So what you is it like? What was that like? 205 or like total weight? Was it? No, no,
I
no. It
think
was like
total weight it was like 300,
315.
something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, honestly, you can do a lot with that.
Yeah. So we
Pretty much
had that.
everything.
We had dumbbells up to like 35 pounds. And then the big thing we just didn't have was like leg equipment. So my dad and I built a squat rack out of um, like 4x4s,
Right, right, right.
and it took like probably 2 weeks to build it, just because it was like so many little moving pieces, and then there was like you had to
You
build
did
like
like
the
a legit
safety.
ass squat rack.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
oh yeah. If you go back on my Instagram quite a far way down, you can find it. But it's huge. It's probably like 8 feet tall, like normal size squat rack. But
still
the
have it in
worst,
there.
oh yeah, the worst part about it was the holes where you put like the safeties and the J cups. You had to drill each one of those fucking holes. So, and it was treated wood because we wanted to get like the strongest wood for it. Well, drilling through
Oof.
treated wood is like drilling through fucking steel. Like it's horrible.
Yeah,
And so we got like,
bet that took a while. Couple
yeah, it's
fucking
you got
drill
like,
bits.
yeah, you got like 40 holes on each peg pretty much. And
I would have
yeah,
skipped a few.
oh dude, it took so long. I thought
That's
I broke
rough.
my damn wrist the one day. It was so
I
bad.
bet, man. Yeah, because if you're drilling in, it gets caught. It'll just
Mhm. Yeah.
yup, yup. Yeah, man. That was my ADHD there, but it's very interesting to me. Shit, we both made it happen.
Mhm.
So I don't want to hear any excuses. We were back then. I was pouring concrete weights. Hunter was fashioning a fucking squat rack out of wood. Get your ass to the gym. All right, so back to the Arnold. We love the Arnold, as you can't tell. It's one of our favorite weekends. We live for this shit. And it's just nice to see people too. Like you see a lot of people,
Mhm.
people that you might only see once a year. And yeah, like you were talking before we push record, it's a place where, like, for a lot of meathead types or bodybuilding fans, most of the time, when you're at work, when you're out at maybe you go to fucking church, out at the social function, nobody understands bodybuilding. They're like, oh, why aren't you drinking? Why aren't you eating that? It's like, motherfucker, I'm trying to get shredded, but people don't get that, and to be around 100,000 people that are about that life, you can just feel it in the air. The vibe is on point.
Mhm.
And it's intimidating for some people, but I embrace you all. If you maybe are on the fence of going to the Arnold and you just search a podcast about the Arnold, fuck it, you should go.
Yeah.
I don't know what you
I
think,
will
honey.
I will say too, it opens your eyes to like what these people actually like, because you see them in like Instagram or whatever, but when you see them in real life, it's different. Like for one,
Yeah.
I know for you, it's probably hilarious because you're a pretty tall guy, and like you see some of these guys that look like monsters on Instagram, and then you see them in person, and you're like, oh shit, I'm a foot taller
did
than you. Like,
did you stand close to Samson ever last year?
I did when we were at the Olympia.
Okay. Honestly, not as big as you'd think.
No, I mean
Like
that's
tall, and if he
yeah,
takes his shirt off, it's fucking game over. But
yeah,
like
yeah.
tall, and had like a jacket on. I was like,
Mhm,
I'm
mhm.
5'11". I don't know, 5'10" maybe.
Yeah,
That's what they say
he
for
he
him. But
definitely. It's definitely a bit of an illusion because everybody else on stage is so short.
yeah, yeah, that's true. He looks
I
fucking massive, and don't get me wrong, he's fucking massive.
Oh, he's
But
huge. I will say though, the craziest person that I've seen in person is Quint Beastwood
yeah,
from
big motherfucker.
dude. He's so tall and so wide, and his calves, because he's always wearing shorts. There's no way you can find fucking pants. his calves are like fucking bigger than my head. Like
Stupid.
when he was walking around, he wasn't even competing, but he was just walking around. I was just like, dude, what the hell? Like
Yeah.
he's like, if you take me and you and stack us together, that's how wide he is.
That's nuts, dude.
Yeah.
That's nuts. But yeah, and you see how on point they are with their diet and like you
Oh
can
yeah,
see
they're
that
just
they're
carrying around
regimented.
food and yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, man. It's a great experience. So I challenge anyone that might be on the fence to go. But let's get into these picks, man. So like we said, we're going to the show on Saturday. It's gonna be sick. I haven't been since 2021. That was my first bodybuilding show ever. So definitely looking forward to hitting it. Oh wait, no, maybe I went in 2022. I did go in 2022.
Was 2021 the year that Nick won it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 22, I want to say, I think Brandon won it, but everybody felt
Yeah.
Bonac got a little robbed.
Yeah.
And then last year we had Samson Dowda kind of
Yeah,
out of
he
nowhere
beat
come and
Nick, yeah.
win. It was definitely a little bit of an upset and a shock last year. I'll never forget, I was at Buffalo Wild Wings in Grandview with my boy Rory, and we were fucking streaming the show on my iPad, and it was like a big card that night too for UFC, so the place was just crazy. But yeah, I was shocked when Nick lost, and a lot of people were. So Samson has the title though, and you got to respect it, and he's gonna be coming to reclaim that title. You know?
Yeah, that plays a big part in my picks this year.
Same. Definitely same. Let's try to set the stage a little bit more for those who might not be super familiar with the Arnold. We also have, in his first Arnold competition ever, former Olympia winner Hadi Chupin. He got the visa. Why did I say like visa? Fuck me. He got the visa. I'm gonna edit that out. Fuck it. I can't. That's a shot to my ego. Fuck. He got the visa from Iran despite rising global tensions to compete in the Arnold for the first time. And Hadi is coming off once again kind of controversial, but I think he should have lost. A controversial loss in the 2023 Olympia just a few months back. So dude's been training like a madman. He's been fucking posting on Instagram with some unhinged shit like coming for blood.
I saw your Instagram video about his squats the other day. That was pretty
Oh
funny.
yeah, I mean that's not even like some of the crazy shit he posts. He'll be calling people out, and it's like, who are you calling out for Photoshop, my guy? It's like, why are you so mad? Just relax. But his squats, he's in the States now training with his coach, Hani Rambod, who's coached more Olympia winners than you can imagine. So he's doing these fucking strip set squats at what? Probably less than 2 weeks out, maybe 11 days out, 10 days out of the competition.
Wasn't it six plates aside? Was that what it was?
6 plates down to 2 plate or down to a plate, like fucking 5 to 10 reps each drop. And I'm like, man, that's fucking nuts. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if you even should be doing that, but pop off, bro. Like,
no, you're not adding any muscle at this point.
Yeah, it's just like you really just have a fucking demon that you're trying to beat inside of you.
Yeah.
But he's coming for blood, like we said, and there might even be like little beef that Hadi has because apparently he calls Samson out for Photoshop. No one can really understand the man because Google Translate doesn't fucking work for Iranian or whatever the language is. It's not Iranian. It's something else. Didn't mean to be
Farsi.
Farsi. Yeah. So we also just have a stacked lineup of, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but maybe like the second call out, kind of second tier guys. We have a fucking stacked lineup of those guys, of those high level, maybe not quite, the best of the best, but some of the best in the country, in the world, from the Olympia and just in general, show winners, all competing, which made these picks very hard. But Hunter and I are about to get in top 10 picks. Hunter, tell me any other thoughts you have about the Arnold.
I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. I think it's the top two, and then it's kind of everybody else fighting.
Right.
Um, a couple guys that are like kind of coming up more so though, like Rafa and what's his name, Horse MD or
Yep.
whatever his real name is. I just know his Instagram. I mean, I think
Marcelo
yeah,
De
something like that.
Angelis.
Yeah, something
Something.
like that. But yeah, those two guys are kind of on the come up, and then obviously you got like James coming back after a year off, and he's working with a new coach, so he looks great. So it's a lot of heavy hitters.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And I think, one interesting thing that happened about this Arnold that we didn't mention yet was the fact that it was supposed to be even more stacked originally. I feel like the Arnold is always kind of a culprit for like saying people commit to the show, marketing it that as such. Last year we also had several dropouts that the Arnold kind of just like, yeah, they'll be there selling tickets. And then, they did kind of make up for it when Nick Walker hopped in at like 6 or 8 weeks out or whatever. But this year we did have a couple of dropouts. We had Andrew Jack, which well needed withdrawal.
Yeah.
We had what is the Nexzilla guy?
Rubiel.
Rubiel
Yeah.
Mascaro or something.
Something
So
crazy.
he's
He's like Spanish or
upcoming.
whatever.
Yeah. Upcoming phenom.
Yeah, he's a freak.
Massive dude, just a freak of nature. Who else do we have withdraw? Do we have anyone else withdraw? I
I
think
feel
there
like
was
there's
one
one other
more.
person. Yeah. I can't
Yeah.
tell you off the top of my head though.
But yeah, Andrew Jack. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
couple big names dropped out, but
Yeah.
still a very exciting show that's coming up.
I was just gonna say, I think the reasoning for that is because the Arnold and the Olympia are so like
Right.
they're not close together, but
They are
close.
close.
They're close enough. It's a problem. Like
It's so awkward to the point where it's dangerous to the athletes almost.
yeah,
Like very
exactly.
close to being dangerous to them. If you're going to go
Yeah,
from the Olympia, which most don't, and that's why.
yeah,
Um, you know,
yeah.
will
Because
it
then
ever
it's like
change? Probably not.
I think the Olympia will get moved more towards October, and that'll help a little bit.
Oh, true. Yeah.
But the issue is, it's like if you don't win the Arnold, then you got to continue to prep because you
Mm-hmm.
want to qualify for the Olympia. Well, then if you don't win the next one, you got to continue to prep because you want to go to the
Yeah.
Olympia. So it's like you end up prepping like this whole year.
Yep.
You get a couple weeks off, and then you start prep for the Olympia. So
Yeah. It's
yeah,
tough on your body from being
yeah,
that lean and from pushing other like special supplements. So
mm-hmm,
it's an interesting predicament, and I think it just even more so adds to the weight of this show. Like if you're winning, if you're Hottie or Samson, like you said, it's a really good opportunity to then beat the other at the Olympia, which is where it really matters.
right,
Because you got that locked in spot. I mean, Hottie already does because he's Mr. Olympia, so he's qualified for
mm-hmm,
life. But
mm-hmm,
I mean, in other contexts, that would add a little bit of weight. Um, but yeah,
yeah.
man. I mean, I feel like we hyped the show up pretty significantly. I think there's 11 total competitors. I might be wrong,
I think
but
yeah,
but
11. Yeah,
but 10 really, because shout out to the dude that won the Arnold Amateur. But I think
yeah,
everybody probably thinks right now that he's gonna place last. He
yeah,
looks really good, but like he's just not very big.
yeah.
So yeah, I even heard that he might go to. I don't know if I heard it on like Nick Strict Power or like social media. He might go 212 for a bit. So
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, it's like it's a cool opportunity because it's like you basically are automatically have that invite. But on the other hand, it's like you're going from being, the best amateur for like a day to being basically not the worst pro, but like you're back at the bottom of the ranks. You got to fight your way back up. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely something to consider. But let me get my notebook up and handy. Alrighty. And I'll give you the honors, man. You can kick it off.
Yeah, absolutely. We going back and forth, 1-1.
Yeah.
All right, got you.
Oh, wait,
I
wait, wait.
so
Let's start at 10 and count down.
10 and count down. All right, I got you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Build the anticipation. That sounds better.
Um, I feel bad doing this, but I'm probably gonna put John De La Rosa in 10.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
I know, I know. I feel bad, but I just
All
saw
right,
some of his
guys.
pictures. I felt like he was behind.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I get
Hmm.
that. Okay, so what you guys have to understand is, and I get it once again because you never know what these guys have to probably do to make ends meet. Really, these bodybuilders in the bottom half of the show, they probably have great sponsorships, but they're not like balling. Like they probably have to do something else for work, business stuff, other shit. Running social media is probably hard because they might not even have like a social media manager like some accounts do.
Yeah.
Um, so like they're not posting a lot. We don't have much to go off of. We can kind of go off of for most of it. It was like one or two posts and then their last appearance on stage. So it is pretty tough to know. And that's just what we're working with though, because we haven't seen these guys in person, and that's really what matters. But in 10th place, I have just because of and it was a tough one because you hear some good things. He's a freaky guy. He's big, is what you hear, but there's nothing to go off of. And I felt like in his last show, he was a little bit, didn't hit the condition. But I have 10th place, Mo Shaban.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not
but
mad at that.
I have John much higher, I will say, but I can definitely see that. I feel like maybe he's past his prime. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I'm not sure because I haven't really seen anything from him. But
Right. Right. There was
yeah,
like
I
one
mean,
or two pictures. Yeah.
yeah,
The one picture, I think, was it front double bicep where he was, yeah, just like midsection wasn't completely.
trim. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can probably pull it up, but I don't know. We trying to go that hard? What do you think?
Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, just talk
I'll,
talk through.
I'll, I'll take your word for it. Um, yeah, for 9, I'm gonna go probably Mo Shaban. Yeah, just like you said, haven't really seen much from him. I think he took last year off, or I'm not 100% sure, but just we have nothing to really go off of.
Yeah, and that makes it tough. So we could be very wrong.
Yeah,
Maybe Mo Shaban will nail that conditioning, and he is big, so it could pay off for him big time. But it's hard to know. One guy, however, it kind of pains me to say this because he had a pretty big run a couple years back, and in a pretty decent 2023 as well. But man, I don't know, maybe if time's ticking for him or what, stuff's just not clicking. But I have Justin Rodriguez in ninth because, man, just he did have a couple photos. I wasn't super impressed.
mm-mm,
I feel like some parts are kind of like the flow was a little disproportionate.
mm-hmm.
Also conditioning. I think he'll be in good shape, but like, will he nail it? I'm questionable.
Yeah, no, I looked at some of his stuff, and it seems like his like limbs are getting smaller, and his torso is
Yeah.
getting bigger. Which I
Hmm.
mean, he's not a guy that already has a small waist. I mean, he doesn't have a huge waist, but it's not trim. Um, so like when your arms or your legs start to get smaller, that kind of doesn't help to accentuate your waist very well. And yeah, that can be kind of a kick in the dick.
Right.
Yeah. Number
What you
8,
got for 8?
I have God, this is hard for me. Um, I'm gonna go Akeem
Yeah.
just because again, same thing, like haven't really seen much from him. He really fell in his last Olympia, I believe. because at one point he was like top 6. I think he was 6.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, his last couple showings, he's big. He's always big, but like he just hasn't brought the conditioning, and I don't know who he's working with now, but I just have to go off what we've seen from him most recently, and that hasn't really been good conditioning, and I just don't think they're gonna let that slide here.
Yeah, for sure. I also had Akeem in 8th, so I'm right there with you. Yeah, he's one of those guys where, if he nails it, he could be in like the probably 4, 5, 6 region.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Yeah,
like, is he gonna nail it? I don't know. And most of the time with these things, the trends do predict how the competitor will show up.
trend.
If they have the trends, but pretty close to trend. This is a trend heavy podcast. We've been trending hard.
Trend hard.
Trend hard, never quit. Is that what it is? What was it?
I'm not
Trend
sure.
hard and never give up. And never
There
give
you
up.
go.
Like Anavar. Yeah. Yeah. So Akeem in 8th. I'm right there with you. Not a whole lot to say on that. You hit the nail on the head.
No.
But what do we have? What do we have in 7th?
7th, I'm probably gonna go Justin Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Kind of like we talked about, like he doesn't necessarily look bad, and he always has kind of a history of bringing things in that last couple weeks, like the last 2 weeks somehow, just tightening up. And he's another one of those dudes that if he freaking shows up and we're just like, well, shit, what were we talking about? He could be, anywhere from as high as 3rd for all I know, but I don't think he's going to be. And he seems like he's competed a lot in the last couple years, so I feel like his body's kind of tired.
Yeah.
But
He had that
yeah,
issue, I want to say, in maybe early 2023, where it was just like competition. Or maybe that was even 2022. I can't remember really. But yeah, it was either, maybe it was both too. Like he's just kind of, you can tell his looks a little tired.
yeah,
Which, yeah, who knows? But 7th place on my end, I have a fan favorite, someone that we all love, Antoine Vaillant.
hmm
Lovable dude, He kind of looks like he just has like a jovial look about him. Like
oh
that
yeah,
guy looks like he's having a good time. He's a funny
oh yeah.
guy.
He's one of
He's
the boys.
right, yeah. And man, I think he's surprising a lot of people. Pretty conditioned.
Yeah,
In updates, he's looking peeled. He's got
hmm
that death face going on. He's bald, so his like fucking
yeah,
skin
it
and his
just sunk in.
skull's popping. But also, yeah, like I think he has like a great like aesthetic flow physique, but he's not huge. Which like don't get me wrong, he's fucking big, but like compared
Yeah,
to some guys, I feel like that might be what gets him. I don't know. What do you think?
yeah. I have him in 6th, so he's very lower bottom. Like he's just his freaking legs, calves.
Yeah, yeah.
He's just huge from
What a nice problem to have. I couldn't
yeah,
even say I have the opposite because I don't have a big upper body, but like, fuck, my legs just
right. He's
so
just
long.
hard
They
to fill
don't
out.
grow. Right.
Yeah, but he's very lower body dominant. Um, and again, it's not that his upper body's not huge, but it's just not. It doesn't match quite as well with his legs. And it's like, if I think if you put his upper body next to just somebody else's upper body, it would still look similar, like very comparable. But then when you look at the full silhouette, it makes his legs just look freaking blown out and ginormous. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I think he's going to be peeled. He'll probably win best poser. Um, but
Yeah. He does have a very like artistic way about his posing.
yeah, so he'll probably win best poser, and I don't even want to say he could have the best legs in the show because there's a lot of good legs, but yeah, he's just he's going to look really good.
Right. In 6th, yeah, this is where I put John De La Rosa. And the
Gotcha.
reason why is because I don't know. I have a good feeling. I don't know if he brings it. I think he's shown in the past that he can do it, but and look really fucking good. And then also, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, he got second place to Justin Shire in Chicago.
Yeah, and then second to Hunter Labrada in Tampa.
Yeah, so like he's been in fighting shape. I feel like maybe it was some missed peaks. Obviously, it's hard to beat Hunter, but this time he could pull it together. Like we said, the reservation is, man, the last updates he posted weren't crazy conditioned.
Mm.
So let's
And
see if he pulls it together.
yeah, I mean he could just be flat, but I don't know. The
Did you
only
see
issue,
Brandau's picture?
not
Looks so
recently, no.
flat. Yeah, he looks so flat.
Yeah, the
Almost made
only
me put him low.
the only reason I don't have John higher is because when I look at a good majority of some of these guys, they're very big frame dudes, and I just don't think John has a very big frame.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I didn't
Like
think
if
about that.
you look at Samson, he's 5'10", 5'11", whatever he is. Akeem's not a, I mean, he's
Yeah,
probably like 5'8", but he's still ginormous. Antoine, taller guy.
yeah,
James, taller guy. Rafa, taller. Like they all
yeah.
just,
And in another show, that wouldn't really matter as much. But when you are, it's like when Sean Clarita competed last year. It's like, oh, dude, like just so fucking small. Like
right.
you
Like
can't be,
pound
you can't
pound for
overcome that.
pound, he's probably the biggest guy on the stage. But it doesn't matter when you stand him next to Samson and he looks like a child.
Right. And Rami too.
Oh yeah, that
Like,
was funny.
yeah, that's tough. And then Brian Shaw.
Yeah,
Um, but that was just
they
cruel.
knew what they were doing.
That was fucked up. But yeah, man, I'll be interested to see how he puts that together. We got to hit your fifth, right?
Yeah, so let's see, five. I think this is where I'm going to put Marcelo De
Mm-hmm.
Angelis, or however you say his name. I think he's I think he's going to be great in the future, but I think right now he didn't really have enough time to make drastic improvements from his last show. Um, I still think he'll look really good. I think he's working with Milos as well, so he'll probably be peeled. Um, he looks great when he hits the vacuum, but there are some shots where his waist looks a little bit thicker, particularly in like something like the ab and thigh. There's not a whole lot of flair to it. It's just kind of straight up and down, which I mean, it's only one shot, but and then I don't know if you saw he posted like a rear lat spread and it looked really good, but then for some reason when he hits a back double, it just looks very crunched and like
Hmm.
it's just not very spread out. So I don't know if that's a posing issue, um, but I think he's going to do great. But I just don't think he's quite ready to be in like that top three yet.
Yeah, that's a safe bet. Definitely. I like that. I like that you pick up on certain things that I don't too, like especially with like the posing things. Um, yeah, I think that just goes, like you said, to his overall experience. So I
Mm-hmm.
have James in fifth
Ooh.
because, yeah, yeah,
Ooh.
he's back there a little bit. He's coming correct, this Arnold, but I think the people in front of him are just either a little bit more aesthetic or a little bit freakier.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it is super exciting to see James bring his all-time best. I think this is going to be his best. He looks fucking phenomenal. The dude is conditioned. He looks great. So let's hope he puts it together with a force. But I think probably fifth or fourth, I could argue, would be where James is going to land. But I'm going to put him in fifth. Um, you know, it's the tough thing. I talked about it yesterday on the story, the predestination for bodybuilding. Does genetics play a role? And while he is like super dense and, muscular, maybe not the most aesthetic guy up there on the stage. And my thought is, the Arnold sometimes skews a little bit more toward the aesthetic option.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's true or not, debatable. But That's why I put him in 5th.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you just said. All valid points. I don't know. Maybe I'm betting a little bit too much with my heart.
You
I
do
like.
that. You do
I
that.
I know. I like James. James is a good dude.
You said Justin Shire was going to place top 3 in the 2023 Olympia. I was like, I don't know, my guy. I love him too, but no, I'm
I,
kidding. He's like, no, I fucking didn't.
I was like, I think I had him top 10,
You
but
said pull up the clip.
yeah,
I think we both had him like 9 or 10.
yeah. Next year, or
Yeah.
2 years because he's taking a year off. But
Yeah. What do you think about that? What do you think about taking a whole year off?
uh, I it's difficult
I
to
think
say.
he'll
So
be
I
okay.
yeah. Well, here's my thing, and this I was just listening to a podcast with some coaches talking about this today. If you're somebody who you've done like a local show or something like that, and you're not winning that yet, then yeah, you need to take a couple years off because you need size. Like that's the majority of what it is. Especially if you like came into your show and you were peeled and you still didn't win, you probably need size. So taking like a couple years off, understandable completely. The issue is, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think when you become a professional, I think it does you more good to stay a little bit leaner and do one of these where you're catching your rebounds after shows and doing stuff like that than it does to take a complete year off. And granted, they're professionals, so like it's not like he's going to get fat. But
Yeah.
I think by having a date that you know that you have to be ready for, it keeps you locked in for longer. I think it's very easy when you get into an off season that's longer than 6 8 months to be like, well, we can kind of relax
Yeah.
here, have some home cooking here. And like, don't get me wrong, there's room for all that, but I feel like when you have to be more locked in, it just, I don't know. I think that's when people see more progress.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean,
For
I
sure.
I could be wrong, and you could come back 20 pounds heavier and blow this out of the water. So I have no idea.
He probably will. If it's Justin, I think he
Yeah.
will. But
The
we'll
weird
see.
thing though is he's a little bit older, isn't he? I want to say he's like
Yeah. But
34, 35.
ooh, he might even be older than that, 35, 36. But
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
he's new to
I
bodybuilding.
yeah, that's the thing. Like when you start gear at 18, like a lot of these guys have, it's like, yeah, that shit's gonna age you because you've been doing it for a decade. But if he's only been,
Yeah.
he's only a couple years in, I don't know. There might even be more benefits to waiting. I think there that we'll see that with this current generation and
Hmm.
coming generations, like people that might have started a little bit later after they
Yeah.
got all the good habits down. They'll
Yeah.
probably be bringing some crazy looks. But what's your fourth place?
Fourth, I'm gonna have Rafa. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I debated on putting him in third, but I still don't think he's gonna be quite big enough. Um, I think he's gonna look better than he did last time we saw him, which I think was not last year's Olympia, but maybe the one before. I'm not sure, but I
22.
think yeah, I think he took 10th. Um, so I think he's going to look phenomenal, and I think how we were kind of talking that the Arnold typically favors a little bit more shapely guys. I think that'll play in his favor for sure. Um, but I think once he gets into that like top three category, I think they're just going to be kind of too big for him to deal with. Um, and I kind of feel like his shape is only going to be able to take him so far. But all those guys are going to be peeled in the top four. So, I mean, it's not like he's going to be out of condition, but I just think when you're huge and peeled compared to not quite as huge and peeled, it's kind of, you're splitting hairs.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Valid points for sure. In fourth, I have Horse MD. I'm thinking that freak factor
Mm-hmm.
of just the like kind of like aesthetics and like you said, his back. back shots aren't great, so that's why I have him down. But I think he does look pretty. He's not going to be huge, but like just freaky. I think he's going to have that like overall package. Definitely
His
excited to see him on stage.
his legs are nuts. We were talking about
Excited to
legs
see that.
for like everybody in the show, pretty much. His legs are nuts.
Yeah, yeah, dude. That'll be interesting to see because this is really his first like big breakout show.
Hmm
I think like yeah, he hasn't got a ton of like mainstream attention.
Yeah, I
So
mean, he did those overseas shows, and I think he beat Nathan Diasha,
yeah, yeah.
and I think he got like third or something like that behind
hmm
maybe Baruz and Samson.
Yeah,
I
it was a
think
pretty
that's
stacked lineup.
yeah. So I mean,
Um,
but yeah,
yeah.
this will definitely be his coming out party, especially in the States.
Oh yeah, he's coming out all right. You know he's got a wife and everything, but be ready. That closet is vacant as fuck. He's coming out. If you
All
know what
right,
I'm saying. Third place.
third place, James Hollinshead.
There we go.
Yeah,
Why do you
I
think he's gonna place third?
I think with having Milos as his coach, I think he'll finally nail his peak. But that's always been his issue is like he's in condition, like he's never not in condition. But he just those last couple weeks it just kind of either goes super full or super flat. And
hmm
yeah, I think this will be probably the first. I think this will be the best version of him that we've ever seen. And I just think he's going to be peeled as hell, big as hell, and I think they'll have him pretty full, which is I think that extra little pop will give him an advantage over Raphael. And yeah, I think he's gonna look nasty because like some of his updates that we've seen, you're just like, what the fuck is that? Like he just looks like
Yeah,
a piece of granite. Like he just looks like a rock, man.
I hope he nails it, man. I hope they do.
Yeah.
That'd be incredible and just good for him. You know, sometimes like you hear him on the podcast, they had that whole episode where he's like, just like I don't know, he's having some
Mm-hmm.
self belief issues, but I think he's bringing that confidence back, man. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
he's
Yeah.
got it. So
You can
love to
tell
see him do well.
James is just like a good dude. Like I think he's good for the sport. Like
hmm
just like the way he talks about bodybuilding, the way he talks to people, like I just feel like he's just good for the sport.
True passion for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely agree. In third though, I have Brandao. So kind of flopped
Mm-hmm.
our spot, like flop dish, I guess you could say. But um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's been a minute since he's competed. I really like his physique, so maybe I was like, the dude's aesthetic as fuck.
Oh yeah, he
Um,
looks like a statue.
yeah, maybe the most like if we're thinking Arnold, like the most aesthetic in this show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, debatable, but yeah, I think with that being said, the break might do him well and he'll come in. The only reservation once again is uh he didn't look crazy conditioned. Like he's definitely in shape, but that next level is what you're talking about when you're talking top three. So I think he'll pull it together because I think he was just looking flat. But I
Yeah.
looked at some of the pictures recently. I'm like, oh boy, I hope he's flat. Um,
Right.
so so I think he'll pull through and hit a big monumental top three for his
Yeah.
career.
All right.
All
Top
right, the
two.
big point of contention, what everybody came for, who's gonna win, and who is gonna be salty as fuck.
I have flip flopped this shit so many times. Literally, just
Really?
even within the past like 2 days.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
think
flip flop myself.
I know. I think Hottie's coming in second.
Yeah, I do too, man.
I think he's gonna be peeled how he always is. He's gonna be big how he always is. But I don't know if you've looked at his one leg. Looks like it's a little injured or something's going on there that it's like starting to get a little bit smaller than the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, let's be real, like I'm no freaking bodybuilding judge, but if I can see it, they can definitely see it.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to hurt him. I don't think his waist is getting any smaller. He's it's not blown out by any means, but it's not tiny. And then I do think when we're talking about the Arnold, they're going to favor the more shapely Arnold-esque physique.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
maybe
some,
that's kind of what we saw last year.
yeah, exactly. And I think Samson's going to be better than he was last year. I think this will probably be the best version of him we've ever seen. But it kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of when Cedric McMillan was winning the Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of that same, tall, big physique. Not to say like Cedric wasn't a freaking mass monster. Dude was like 275 on stage. But
Yeah.
kind of the same thing with Samson. I mean, he's going to be biggest guy there frame wise. Probably you could make an argument for most aesthetic, like
Yeah.
him or Brandao.
Yep.
And if his condition is better than it was last year, I just don't know how they don't give it to him.
Agree. Yeah, man. It's crazy how he keeps improving, but he just does.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Genetic
especially
genetics are a real
right.
thing.
Oh, for sure. I was about to say the only thing that could mess up Samson would be conditioning and the peaking of his conditioning.
Yeah.
One thing that's interesting, did you listen to the recent bro chat with Samson and Urs? It came out yesterday, actually, so pretty
Yep.
recent. So
Yep.
Fuad honestly asked him, he said, is your back in shape? Because that's his main,
Right.
where he holds his last bits is in his back shots. You can tell he's like a little soft.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't posted his back. Did you realize that?
He hasn't, but did you see that one back relax that
I
he
did. I did. That's true. It looks fucking gnarly, but
that I don't think I've ever seen him have that like Christmas tree at the bottom or anything like
yeah,
that. And so that's why I was like,
yeah,
oh shit.
it looked
Like,
crisp.
yeah,
Yeah, and it looked just fucking massive too.
yeah.
So we'll see about that. That'll be the one tell for Samson. Hottie, I have no doubt he's going to come in shredded.
Yeah.
Maybe more shredded than the Olympia.
Yeah.
Probably more shredded than Olympia.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a long time for him to be on point. He doesn't typically do that. Uh, Recently, I'm sure he's done it plenty of times in the past, but
I was gonna say he hasn't had more than one show a year for probably a couple years.
yeah, and I have no doubt, coming
Yeah.
up, he's like he's been competing forever. So
Yeah. And Hani always has his guys dialed in, so
yeah, that's another thing. It's kind of like having a Hani Rambod athlete that's like really making moves in the Arnold. Um,
yeah.
I don't know, haven't seen that much.
No.
Might be wrong,
No.
but yeah, man. Appreciate you coming on and covering the top 10. Definitely excited to see how it pans out. We'll be there at the show, and I don't know. I feel like last year. Did you go to the show last year?
Yes, I did actually.
Yeah, I took a year off last year because I was like, it'll be sick, but I just went to the Olympia, so I'm excited to go back to a bodybuilding show, man. Like, really looking
Yeah,
forward to that.
absolutely. Yeah, it's
So
very different to see it in person than it is to see it
yeah,
on the screen.
so cool.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when we saw fucking Chris and Ramon posing down at the expo of the Olympia Saturday. That was so cool.
Yeah, that was
Started
awesome.
getting fucking tears in my eyes and shit. I don't even know why. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
She was
Honestly,
crazy. But
seeing that in person just like 100 times confirmed like it's not close. Like
oh yeah, yeah.
Chris is just so good.
Yeah, dude. And yeah, to speak on that real quick, really from the gap between Chris and Ramon is almost as big between Ramon and Urs. So I'm excited to see that that matchup. Maybe
Hmm.
not quite as big because Chris is dominant, but
Yeah,
Ramon, I feel like in the past he kind of dominated Urs. So let's see what you got, Urs. Hope you're bringing your A game.
absolutely.
But dude, appreciate you keeping us updated. Once again, congrats on doing your own thing. That's extremely exciting, and we wish you
Thank
the
you, brother.
best with it.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, excited, and definitely let me know if I can help at all, whatever it might be. But yeah, we are rooting for you, dude, and thank you for once again coming on. Excited to see you at the Arnold. If anyone wants to stop by, I don't know what number we are yet. I'll post it, but Create Pure, I'll be there. You probably catch Hunter over there too at some point.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, looking forward to the weekend. So we'll see you there. And you have anything else to plug? Anything else that you'd like to say, Hunter?
Not at the moment, man. Just thanks for having me on, and we'll see you in 8 days.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Well, thank you for listening. Appreciate the audience. Appreciate you, Hunter. Catch you in 81.